Hello, hello, hello. This is the Wings Mobile Detailing Podcast, and today we're covering on the automotive detailing topic, talking about the old-fashioned detail versus the neo detailing. If you're, for all of you folks out there who lean more towards the old style of detailing for your personal car, or if that's the way you do detailing, using more of the old, old waxes to maintain the car clean with those paste Maguire's paste starter wax, and you're not really much, not only familiar, but you're not really trusting much of the new detailing products that's out there. Ceramic coating can be new sealants, or what they call spray ceramic, which can be hyped up. So I do understand why a lot of people actually they tend to go, and even for your detailers, so it's good to understand why people sometimes they prefer to lean towards the old products, even if it's not as effective as the new one. But the reason being is because, let me know if you can relate to that, but there's a lot of hype in the auto detailing product sales out there. The way manufacturers are marketing their products to sell, they're calling products one name when they in reality they're not much different. They call a spray product a ceramic coating service when in reality it's not the real type of ceramic, and so that actually can ruin the service, this actual ceramic coating service, which is a great service. It's a great protection for any car that's out there. When I say any, it's like for any new car. Obviously, there are exceptions to where it's worth to apply ceramic or not. That's another topic. But let's stick with the old-fashioned detail versus the new one, the pros and cons, and I understand the reason why people sometimes lean towards the old style of detailing. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezalira.
Guys, this is not a topic that is very much talked about, and so sometimes folks are questioning to whether they should keep their old style of detailing. Some people do prefer to stay with the old waxes instead of machine wax, instead of sealants, instead of ceramic coatings. They prefer to do just a wipe down the interior instead of using the new serums that's out there for the interior leather and things like that. So a lot of people are just stuck to it. They're not, no, I'm not changing my mind. I'm not going to go and be part of this, get my personal car. I'm not going to get my personal car this new product. I just want this. I want wax on my car, and that's it. But some other people are actually, more open towards seeing, okay, maybe that's better for my car. I've gotten clients before where they have exotic cars, really, really nice cars, and they just weren't familiar with the new products. It's not that they weren't trusting the new products and they want to stick with the old, but they weren't familiar. They didn't understand the difference. So consequently, they tend to lean more, okay, let me stick with the old and not mess with anything new because I don't want to mess up my car. But other people actually if you're leaning towards opening your mind and, or are just, want to use your time to learn, okay, maybe for my car, I'm willing to go with the new products, but I wanted to know the difference. And this is what the podcast is for. We're telling you the difference today. There are benefits to both. There are benefits to both having it done the old way with the old products, old techniques, which it's not necessarily old. It's still very much used today. I mean, waxes, we use waxes for the car today. I use for my personal car. Obviously, by the time I got it ceramic coated, I don't use it anymore. So I went with the new, which is ceramic coated. So waxes is still great for new cars. They're still clear coated just the same. There's still the benefits, which doesn't change. It's not bad if it's properly done. But let's compare a little bit, point by point and step by step, what these differences are between the new and the old products. So starting with waxes, it's much talked about. We as detailers, we get a lot of clients who request a service and they're like, I don't want anything new on my car. I just want the old. I just want to wash and wax. That's it. Old applied, hand applied wax with a paste wax. And we service vehicles like that. In fact, we have many packages like that, and to where we service those type of clients. And if they are willing to understand and learn more, so this is the difference. After a while, wax was always applied, washed, as regularly, decontaminated. We're not gonna go over clay and everything like that. But in the old way, there wasn't sealants, polymers. The old days was mainly the paste actual wax. And with time, they actually start coming up with, as the years went by, they started coming up with beeswax. Carnauba wax is a really old type of wax used, and it is amazing. It's a Brazilian wax. There are other types that are, polymers, which goes more towards the sealant, which is better than wax, less longer, it's thicker, and it protects the paint more efficiently and better. The wax, for example, it is still great to protect your car. It's hand apply. With time, they start to moving when they start coming with the dual action buffer, which I consider that towards the new way versus the old way. Not old folks, but people want to stick with the old detailing. They like, I don't want buffer on my car. I just want hand applied wax. Why? Because then buffers back then used to be rotary buffer. You couldn't use a buffer to wax a car because the buffer was only used to correct the paint. Now they made dual action buffers, which is actually also made to wax car because they massage the wax just like you massage the wax on the car with your hand, but you use the buffer. It's more efficiently, it's quicker, and it covers more area better. It's more accurate. And some people tend to think, I want to hand apply on my car wax. I don't want the buffer, because they automatically think because it's faster, or I'm not sure the reason, but think that it's not as well applied when it's done with a machine. But it's actually better, because think about it this way. The buffer that you're using on the car, and it has a low speed. It's not like to use it to cut the car to do paint correction. You're massaging high speed, a good amount of liquid wax on the paint. You're massaging it thoroughly. So you're covering all areas. Aside if you do with a pad, hand wax with your pad, you may miss some spots. The chances of missing spots are higher, even though you're doing it slowly because you don't have the machine there. So in this part, yes, hand applied wax, well done. It is good, but it's not different than using a dual action buffer. Obviously, it wouldn't be used a rotary buffer, but using a dual action buffer, which was created years after the wax was in the market. The dual action buffer is a new buffer, which most, if not all, detailers they have. It's common right now. It is really common. So in that aspect, don't get yourself, okay, I'm just gonna go with the old waxes is still good. But having applied with a dual action buffer, it doesn't make it worse, unless you're dealing with a non-professional and sloppy detailer on your vehicle and using dual action buffer where they didn't clay the vehicle properly before using the buffer. You could have swirl marks consequences, but then it's your job to find a good detailer, not a bad one. Any good detailer, they would clay your car before putting the buffer on the car, and the chances of scratching the car, especially with the dual action, in a professional level, aren't very high if you're dealing with a professional detailer. And then there's the sealants as well. Sealants, they came after waxes. Waxes were introduced around the 1800s, and then the sealant, they came just about around the same time, obviously before the using carriages, so around the 1800s. But sealants are also a step above wax. It has a better protection, and I'm not talking about the quality as much of the sealants. I'm just comparing to why you shouldn't stick just with the old if sometimes you're gonna benefit with the newer. Although sealants are not much new, but they are, some people actually do prefer to just stick with the wax and not even think about doing sealants, much less ceramic coatings. But sealants are just a step above of type of paint protection. And there are a lot of good brands out there, just like waxes. Sealants, they're polymers. Most of them where waxes are actually waxes. It's applied the same way. They're cream. They can be in more liquid form or cream. And you massage on the car. You massage the sealant. It's gonna get a better protection. There's no negative consequences on the car, just like the wax. Only if it's not same with wax. If you apply wax on black trim, it's gonna fade. Same with the sealant. So they're about the same. Sealant's just better. It can be sometimes a little bit more costly, but in the term of investment, think about later on, it's gonna last longer. It's gonna offer better protection for the car. It's gonna sometimes shine more than wax, but some waxes do offer more shine as far as that goes. But if you're really looking for the protection, have a good coating of the sealant on your car. Don't be afraid of the difference. Obviously, for you folks who still okay, I'm not for towards. I still want the old wax. You're not gonna convince me. I'm not trying to convince you. Just to see the difference, to let you know, and I'm gonna go with the negatives of the new product in the markets out there. Even though I'm sure a lot of you listeners are more leaning towards the millennials because this is the podcast. But if you're the millennial detailer, you might get some benefit from this because you're servicing older clients, which is fine. So the sealants out there sometimes they can better offer shine, but for sure sealants are made to offer better protection, longer protection. Label nowadays of products, something to watch out for, which it can be included in the hype of the detailing products out there from the manufacturers, the way they brand it, is that sealant will last for 12 years, and waxes just last for not 12 years, pardon me, for 12 months. They manufactured the sealants that they're going to last for 12 months, and waxes are going to last much less, which indeed wax does not last as long as a sealant. That's true. Sealants are thicker, they will be longer the car, but sealant sometimes when they brand a sealant as it's gonna last for 12 months, but that's not really how it is. If a daily driven car in the real world, the car is not parked, not driven very much in the real world where people drive their car, that's what we do. Sealants would normally go for about 7-8 months. For daily driven, sometimes even less, depending on the contamination that it goes through it. So we like as detailers, we like to tell the client the average. It does not looking through the label, but the average, how much it would last on their car in the real world. If they tell me that they're not driving their car very much and it's garage kept, yeah, I'm gonna tell them, hey, as a consequence, good consequence, you're gonna get it less what the label might be. Telling you that it's going to last the 12 months. So there is that excessive hype, and I think that is what bring people from not trusting the new products, because that excessive hype of how they've been labeling products nowadays. With the sealants, for example, it's going to last for 12 months. It's a new technology. They use a lot of those catchy words just to make it seem like it's a new technology, when in fact, all that it changes is the brand, but the composition inside the product is just about similar. It's just about the same. Carnauba wax, it's going to be a Carnauba wax. It's not going to be a new technological Carnauba wax. No, it's the same. What they can do is call it like cleaner waxes. Sometimes, but cleaner waxes can be just regular wax with some abrasiveness on it, which is polished. That's how you polish the paint. You'd have some abrasiveness on it. A cleaner wax will help to remove minor paint imperfections like swirl marks. And we say cleaner because it's removing surface swirl marks, but you're actually lightly polishing the paint and removing imperfections. If your car doesn't need to be polished, go directly to the wax or directly to the sealant. And if your car needs to be polished, do a separate. Polish a car and then apply the wax. Don't mix much because you don't want to also be polishing your car for every time you wax. There's no need to polish. Better not to polish. But there are those names out there, like nowadays they have the new spray sealant that's going to last for 12 months. But in reality, that's how they market, and they are not lying, but they are telling you It's gonna last 12 months under the impression that your car's not gonna be driven. So that's why I think sometimes folks get gravitated away from these new products because of lack of an understanding. So sealants are good. Sealants are good. Just don't fall for the same. If you get a polymer sealant and paste apply sealant, it is gonna be better than the liquid spray sealant on the car. If you start off, let's say you were a car owner and you start off on your car with a good first coating of sealant, you clay bar the car, coating of sealant on the car, good protection, and then you follow up with waxes. That's how we like to do. We follow up with waxes. You can do it every 3 months. Paste wax the car. It's gonna make the sealant last even longer because the wax is protecting the sealant. The wax really goes well, depending on the brand that you get, on top of the sealant, and that will make the sealant last for 12 months if you regularly wax your car. Paste wax, the actual paste sealant, or the liquidy, not the spray one, because if you start off with the spray sealant and then you maintain your car with the spray wax, yes, it is going to be faster to do it, quicker, but that's not necessarily better for protection. And so yes, if you see a liquid, it may not be necessarily better than compared to a paste one. And I really do understand why people get gravitated to the old one. But that doesn't necessarily make, because not only the sealant, the ceramic coatings is hyped up. Even people nowadays even hype up wax. They call it cleaner wax when in reality they're mixing stuff inside some abrasiveness. So everything's hyped up. That doesn't make the new things worse for your car. It's actually better. New products that they are coming up with, sealant, ceramic coating, if professionally applied, it is much. There's no bad consequences to the car. It will last longer. It's resistant against heat, much better than the waxes. So overall, it's gonna protect the paint better, the color of your paint better, and this is what you are gonna want. You want your paint protected, your paint looking nice, and for a long period of time. That's what the ceramic coating is gonna accomplish much better than any wax or sealants without any negative consequence in there. And the maintenance part, when you go towards the ceramic coating, which is much more expensive, even though it's more expensive, that doesn't mean it's not worth. It's actually, it makes financially more sense to have a new car ceramic coated than a new car wax, even though you're spending more money. But then in the future, if you're maintaining the car, where if you apply the coating of wax or sealant, you have to maintain with the same type for a longer period of time. Where ceramic coating, it's good to maintain as well with a spray silica reload, but using a different type of, it's less expensive to maintain a car but at the end of the day, it's going to look better. I might know the benefits of ceramic coating. But today I'm not talking about the benefits, trying to sell. Obviously, I don't sell products, but I'm not trying to sell for you guys to actually go get ceramic coating. I'm just saying for all of you guys who you're open to new ideas, to the new things, but you were afraid of getting in, so that makes you stick and only get the old things, the old type of waxes. I understand the reasoning behind it, but you can really rest assured that, as long as you pick a good, reputable detailer and say, hey, I want my car to be protected, detailer that has good reviews, they're going to lean you towards, they might lean you towards sealants, they might lean you towards ceramic coating. It is good. It is a good option. And sure, the product's label can be hyped up, but that doesn't make them worse. The sealant will be labeled on the it's going to be labeled that the sealant will last for 12 months,